Evaṃ me sutaṃ ekaṃ samayaṃ bhagavā Sāvantiyaṃ viharati jetavane anātapindikaṃ ārāme Atako aññatarā devatā abhiṅkantāya rantiyā abhiṅkantavannā Kevalakampaṃ jetavanaṃ obāsenvā yena bhagavātenupasaṅkamī Upasaṅkaminvā bhagavaṃtaṃ abhivādenvā ekamantaṃ antāsī Ekamantaṃ titākosā devatā bhagavaṃtaṃ gātāya anjabāsī Bahudevā manunsāca mangalāni acintayuṃ Akaṅkamānā sontānaṃ brohi mangalamuntamaṃ Asevanāca bālānaṃ panditānaṃ ca sevanā Pujāca pujanīyānaṃ etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Patirūpadesavāsoca pumbēca katapuññatā Anta sammā panidhica etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Bāhu sañcaṃca simpanca vinayoca susiṅkito Subhāsitāca yāvāca etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Mātā pitu upantānaṃ puntadāraṃsa saṅgaho Anākulāca kammantā etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Dānaṃca dhammacariyaca ñātakānaṃca saṅgaho Anavajjāni kammāni etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Ārati virati pāpā manjapānāca saññamo Ampamādoca dhammesu etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Gāravoca nivātoca santuntīca kataṃ yutā Hālena dhamma savanaṃ etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Khantīca sovacansatā samanānaṃca dansanaṃ Hālena dhamma sākañca etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Tapoca brahmacariyaṃca ariya sañcāna dansanaṃ Nibbāna sañcikiriyāca etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Puntaṃ loka dhammi cintaṃ yansana kampati Asokaṃ virajaṃ kemaṃ etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Etaṃ ඒතාදිසානි කන්වාන සම්බන්තමපරාජිතා සම්බන්ත සොන්තිං ගච්ඡන්තිතං තේසං මංගල මුත්තමන්ති ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං කරණීය මන්ත කුසලේන යන්තං සන්තං පදං අභිසමිච්ඡ සක්ඛෝජුච සුජුච සුවචෝචං සමුදෝ අනතිමානි සන්තුන්සකෝච සුභරෝච අම්පකින්චෝච සල්ලහුකවුන්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අම්පගම්බෝ කුලේසු අනුනුගින්දෝ නචකුන්දං සමාචරේ කිංචි යේන විඤ්ඤූ පරේ උපවදෙය්‍යං සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හන්තු සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා ඒකේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසවාතාවරාවා අනවසේසා දීඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මංජිමාරංසකානුකතුලා දිත්ථාවායේව අන්දින්තා යේච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත ඥාති මඤ්ඤේත කන්තචිනං කංචි ව්‍යාරෝසනා පටිග සංඥා ඥාඤ්ඤමඤ්ඤංස දුක්ඛමිච්ඡේය මාතා යතානියං පුන්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුන්ත මනුරංකේ ඒවම්පි සම්බභූතේසු මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ මෙන්තංච සම්බලෝකස්මින් මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ උන්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසංභාදං අවේරං අසපත්තං තින්ඨං චරං නිසින්නෝවා සයානෝවායාවතන්ස විගතමින්දෝ ඊතං සතින් අදින්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහෝ දින්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දන්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනය්‍යගේදං නහි ජාතු ගම්බසේයං පුනරේති. එවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහෙරති 제තවනේ අනාථ පින්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං 제තවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං පිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බේජ කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතාච යාවාචා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Good morning to all of you. It's a beautiful morning with clear blue sky. Hello and happy to have our Dharma friends who have joined us from the south, Klang Valley, Penang, and all over the country. Joining us on another online Sunday Buddha Puja service. Welcome our Dharma friends from Klang and Coast. South is Meta Lodge, Pusat Johor Bahru. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu that you are spending your Sunday morning for the Buddha Puja service and listen to the Dharma talk and sharing of the merits. Do share your link with your friends. You may prepare an oil lamp or candle or any other offering to offer at your altar. To those of you who have just joined us, welcome again to the Subang Jaya Buddhist Association. This is a 78th online Sundays Buddha Puja service. And we have been organizing this Sunday Buddha Puja service for the benefit of those who are have to stay at home and not convenient, and many other reasons. Let us prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies, and compose our mind. Do let go of thinking about the past and future. Be at the present moment. I shall now hand over to our puja leader, Sister Anne. Over to you, Sister Anne.
Thank you, Brother Chuan. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Namo Buddhaya. Let us begin with our Sunday Buddha Puja service. With respect, may we invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to make the offerings to the Buddha. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, you may also light your candles or oil lamps and make your offerings to the Buddha. For the other devotees, let us place our palms together in Anjali and contemplate mindfully. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, together we shall invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to administer to us the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the triple gem. Bhutang Pujeni, Dhammang Pujeni, Sanghang Pujeni. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, we shall together invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to administer to us the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Ahang Bante Sangsara Vattadukkato Mochanataya Tisaranena Saha Pancha Silang Dhammang Yachami Anukkahang Katwa Silang Data Me Bante. Dutiyampi ahang bante sangsara vattadukkato mochanataya tisara nena saha pancha silang dhammang yachami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante. Tatiyampi ahang bante sangsara vattadukkato mochanataya ติสารเนนะสหปัญจศีลังธัมมังยัจฉามิอนุกหังกัตวาศีลังเดชะเมปันเท
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
บุตตังสารนังกัจฉามิ
บุตตังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
สังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
สังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ดุติยัมปิบุตตังสารนังกัจฉามิ
จุติยัมปิบุตตังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ดุติยัมปิธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ดุติยัมปิธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ดุติยัมปิสังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
จุติยัมปิสังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิบุตตังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตัติยัมปิบุตตังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตัติยัมปิธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตัติยัมปิสังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ปัญจศีลปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
ปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
อาดินนาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
อาดินนาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิจฉาจาระเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิจฉาจาระเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัจจปมาดทานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิ
Surameraya Majapama Dattana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami.
Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami.
Appamadena sampadeta.
Amabante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Buddhanusati, recollection of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anotaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manosanang Buddho Bhagavati. Dhammanusati, recollection of the Dhamma. Soakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanayiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinyohiti. Sanghanusati, recollection of the Sangha. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujjapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samici Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidang Chattari Purisa Yogani Atta Purisa Pogala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahoneyo Pahoneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anotarang Punyaketang Lokasati. Chetya Vandana, salutation to the holy shrine. Vandami Chetiyang Sabang Sabatane Supatititang Saririkadatu Mahabodhi Buddha Rupang Sakalang Sada. Bodhi Vandana, salutation to the Bodhi tree. Yasamole Nisinova Sabari Vichayang Akan Pato Sabbanyutang Satang Vande Tang Bodhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi Lokanat tena pujita aham pite namasami Bodharaja namatute. Padipa Puja, offering of light. Ganasa rapaditena dipena tamadansina tilokadi pangsambodang pujayami tamonodang. Dhupa Puja, offering of incense. Ganda sambarayatena dopenahang sugandina Pujaye pujaneyandang Puja bhajanamotamang. Pupa Puja, offering of flowers. Vanaganda gunopetang etang kusuma santati Pujayami munindasa Siripada saroruhe Pujami buddhang kusumena nena Pungena mettena cha hotu mokkang Opa milaya tiyata idang me Gayo tata yati vinasa bhavang. Paniya Puja. Adivase tu no bante Paniyang parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatumutamang. Asking for forgiveness. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya gadang Achayang kamame bante Buripanya tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya gadang Achayang kamame dhamma Sanditika akalika. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya gadang Achayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo Buddhaya and good morning, Bante, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. This morning, we are very pleased to welcome Venerable Dr. Dhammapala once again to be with us in our Sunday Buddha Puja. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala will be giving a Dhamma talk in both English and Mandarin on seeing the samana or monk is indeed a blessing. A topic I think many of us will be interested to listen to. And if you have any questions pertaining to this talk, you may type your questions in the comments section. We shall then invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to reply to your questions after the talk. However, due to time constraint, we might not be able to answer all your questions, in which case we ask for your understanding and forgiveness. Most of us, if not all, already know Venerable Dr. Dhammapala very well. But for those who may be new with him, let me introduce the Venerable. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala was born in Kuching in 1970. He was ordained as Upasampada Bhikkhu in Wat Chong Kedah in 1984 under the most respected Chao Kun Praraj Dhammatara, who was the chief Siamese Nayaka in Malaysia. Subsequently, he sought spiritual dependence under the guidance of Pandey Dhammasakaro Mahathero. He spent 15 years studying Buddhist philosophy, Pali, and Sanskrit literatures in Sri Lanka and in Hong Kong. In the year 2009, Venerable obtained his doctorate of philosophy in Buddhist studies under the supervision of Professor Venerable K.L. Dhamajoti in the University of Hong Kong. After his graduation, he was appointed as chief editor and spiritual director for the Buddhist Door website, one of the oldest and largest Buddhist websites in the world. In 2010 and 2013, he was the visiting assisting professor at the Center of Buddhist Studies, the University of Hong Kong. He traveled frequently conducting meditation retreats, Dharma talks, and teachings in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala is now the abbot of Brahma Vihara Monastery and Retreat Center, Malacca, and is also the monastic advisor of TBCM, or the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. Brothers and sisters in Dharma, with deep respect, we now invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to begin the Dharma talk on seeing the samana or monk is indeed a blessing. 我们尊敬的邀请法夫比丘为我们佛法开示，题目是瞻仰住萨门是吉祥事。Monday.
Okay, so thank you, Brother Chim. So good morning, Namo Buddhaya. Since Chinese New Year is approaching, so I would like to share with you some blessing. And we know there are 38 blessings in the Mangala Suttas. And one of the 38 blessings is the seeing of Samana, Samanancha Dasana. 那么早上吉祥，南无佛陀耶。农历新年呢，即将到了哦，我想跟大家分享一些吉祥事。那在吉祥经里呢，有38种吉祥。那其中一种吉祥呢是瞻仰诸沙门啊。那这个沙门呢是指这个僧侣或者是修行人啊。那在巴利语呢称为 Samanancha Dasana。So in our Chinese society, right, where we lived, there are many misunderstandings about religion, temples, samanas, or Buddhist monk. And because they never come to temple, not knowing anything about Buddhism, so they just heard or watched from some social medias and got a lot of wrong information. Then the following wrong information are just a few to mention, and I wish to mention three, general understanding. And the first, there is a Chinese saying, one doesn't go to temple without a reason. It means people will never come to temple other than to ask for helps. It makes people feel that those who go to temples are those problematic people, right? And the second, because the temple established itself as a very sacred place, so it gives an impression that the temple is not simply approachable by ordinary people. Then it is regarded as a forbidden, place. There as a result, temple become less frequently visited by people, and the monks eventually becomes a very cool person, and which give people impressions that Buddhism was withdrawn from the society and the monks were not as if living in the world. And the third, some people also misunderstood that the temple is regarded as the abode of supernatural beings, right? Fulfilling all your wish. And usually, people come to temple with that kind of mentality of seeking, right, to ask blessing from gods or from the Buddhas, right, to seek the longevity, from the Buddhas or from the deities, or even to ask, monks, to tell fortune, right, fortune teller, or to cure disease, or to relieve the danger, or even to exorcise the demons, or even to catch the demons, etc. So due to this kind of demand, and of course there is a demand in the market, then the monks, okay, who are catching ghosts or exorcising demons, also become very popular, and that also created a terrible and not very pleasant image of monk, which eventually make people stay away from them. So you see, people don't like to see monk, right? Particularly in Hong Kong, in last century 80s and 90s, right? When people on the street seeing the monk with balded head, right, passing by, these people would murmuring, right, to themselves, today, I made a bad luck, seeing monk balded head, surely I lost my money, they would have that kind of mentality. Then we know that the Hong Kong people, like horse racing, betting very much, right? Say on the day of the horse racing, if they see a bald monk, right, and they consider as the unlucky sign for them. You see, even at one time when I was walking, in the park, you see there is a woman with the the grandson, walking towards me. Then they walk away. You see, they don't even want to see the monks, face to face. So are we monks really that annoying to many people, right? So, on the contrary, you see in Thailand, and, it is auspicious to see a monk, especially when they see a monk, who comes out for the alms round in the early morning. Of course, they are very happy to offer them, because for them, they think, to be able to accumulate merits in the early morning, right? For them, they consider it as a great blessing when they see the monk and are able to do merits in the very first day, in the early morning. So, this is what I'm going to, discuss today, so that you have a better understanding of monks, and, we can live harmoniously. OK， 那我用中文来讲哈。那么在我们生活的这个华人社会里面啊，那么对宗教呢，对寺院啊，对沙门啊，都有很多的误解啊。他们从不来寺庙啊，或者是对佛教呢一无所知啊。他们只是从一些什么社交媒体哈，那么听到或看到一些所了解到的都一些错误的讯息。那以下呢，我想提出3点社会呢普遍对佛教和出家人错误的看法。那第一呢，就是我们讲无事不得三宝殿啊。那么这句话呢，让人感觉就是去寺庙的人呢，都是一些有问题的人物啊。那第二呢，由于寺院呢高过这个佛门净地呢，那尤其是在我们电影里面看到的，哇，寺院呢都是佛门清净地哈，所以给人家感觉到的寺院呢就是闲人莫近哈。那于是呢就被人视为这个佛教的地方呢就是一个净地来的啊，所以呢也就造成寺庙呢变得非常的冷清，还有呢出家人也变得好像比较冷酷啊，所以呢给人家感觉到呢佛教就是一个避世的宗教啊，那出家人呢也是不吃冤火的人啊，这是第二。 那第三呢，就是把寺庙呢当成这个万灵宫的场所。那么一般人呢，就是抱着这样的一个心态，就是会去寺庙呢，不单只是要怎么讲，就是求佛保佑呢，那么也会找一些出家人来看命或者是帮他们治病啊、解围啊，或者是抓妖怪等等等等了就是一些比较特别的一些要求。当然这也是市场的要求这是一个需求所以呢，造成现在很多的出家人他们就好像工作只有抓鬼啊，或者是驱邪的所以呢，一般就造成出家人给人家的感觉就是很可怕，然后呢也很不好的这个形象然后让人家看到呢就敬而远之。那么人们就是不喜欢看出家人尤其是在上个世纪80、90年代那么在香港，就是当他们在街上呢看到就是光头的出家人经过的时候呢，他们就会自言自语了，就是今天呢我又遇上了什么倒霉的人就是看到光头和尚那我今天肯定是输光了我们知道香港人很喜欢赛马，就是投注嘛。那么尤其是在那个赌博的当天呢假如他们看到这个光头的和尚呢，他们当这是一件非常倒霉的事情。或者是那有一次我在香港我就在那个公园散步，就是公园走，那前面有一位一个老婆婆就带着一个孙子看到我出家人在前面走来的时候呢，他们就掉头就跑了。那有时看一下，我说我们真的出家人这么让人讨厌吗？是吗？所以呢，这个就是我们今天要讨论的这个课题了希望呢我们出家人跟在家人真的就能够和平的这个相处那当然我们看到的在泰国就是他们能够看到出家人是一件吉祥的事情，尤其是一早呢看到出家人出来托钵而又能够呢供养出家人又能够累积功德呢，这是一个吉祥事。So there was a story right in ancient India during the Buddha's time, right? And there was a hunter called Kuka, right? He was very angry when seeing monk. So one early morning, this hunter Kuka, led a pack of hunting dogs go to the forest to hunt the prey. So when they walked out of the gate of the village, he met a monk who was working for the almsgiving. So immediately seeing him, Kuka had that unwholesome thoughts in his mind, and he, grumbles. So it is really a bad luck, to see the bald-head guy early in the morning. So I think I will not get anything in return today. So with that kind of bad mentality, the hunter Kuka, really spent the whole morning trying to hunt for the prey, but he couldn't get anything. So of course, when he came up, you see, he was, very upset and very, frustrated because he came up with, empty-handed. So then on the way back, right, he met that bhikkhu again, who went for the almsgiving. So when he met him, that kind of anger, ignorance, right, arises in Kuka, right? And he yelled angrily, you see, it's you, bald head, you make me go back home empty-handed, right? So after scolding the innocent bhikkhu, immediately released, all of these, what they call the hunter dogs, to chase after him and barking and biting the bhikkhu who has nothing to protect himself. So, when the bhikkhu saw this, of course, what he can do is just immediately turn around and run as quickly as possible. And of course, the hunter dogs rushing after him. Then the bhikkhu thought that he should climb up the tree, to escape from the hunting dogs. So of course, the hunter dogs couldn't climb up the tree, so they circled and barked at him, around it, under the tree. So when Kuka saw the monk, was still on the tree, then he went under the tree and using a sharp arrow, right, to stab the foot bottom of the monk. Then, of course, the monks, felt very painful and, of course, breathing. Then his robe also tainted by the blood. So during his struggle, the monk could not hold his robe properly. So as a result, his robe fell down. The kuka, who was standing under the tree, was covered completely by the ropes fallen from the tree. So when the hunter dogs saw the yellow ropes on the ground and smelled the sweat and blood, on the rope, they thought it was a monk inside. Then they rush up and bite seriously. So soon, Kuka, right, was killed by his hunter dogs. Then the bhikkhus, of course, was very sad and confused at the same time, wondering if he should bear any, responsibility. So, when he went back to the monastery, this bhikkhu, went to see the Buddhas, to clear his doubts. The Buddha says, you are not responsible for the death of the hunter Kuka. You have not broken any precepts. In fact, the hunter Kuka should bear his own evil consequences. He should not hurt a person who doesn't harbor any ill thought. And furthermore, he is a samana, right? A Buddhist monk. And of course, Buddhist monk is not monsters, right? He is not a yaksha. If people look at monks with colored eyes, of course, it is really a pity. And he should know that he is very lucky and auspicious, to see the Buddhist monk. So in order to get rid of the wrong knowledge and wrong views of the world, right, the Buddha said that seeing a monk is indeed a blessing. 好 ，OK， 那么佛陀呢在世的时候就是在古印度有一位呢玉身不悦的这个猎人那么一天早上呢，这位猎人他名字叫库卡他就是在拖着一群这个猎狗呢，就是到森林去打猎。当他走出村口的时候呢，遇见前来的有一位托钵的这个比丘僧人。那么当他看到了这位比丘僧人的时候呢，库卡他心中升起了一个很不善的这个念头。那么就在心里面就是嘀咕的就念哇，这一大清早呢一碰到这个秃头的家伙呢，真是的倒霉我看今天呢，我看还是没有什么收获了。那当然怀着这样子不祥的预兆那么他真的就在森林兜了一个早上呢，寻找这个猎物呢，但是都没有找到，所以呢就空手而回。那么也非常的沮丧就是走回家。那么在归途的路上呢，他又碰到了那位托钵的比丘。那当然就在这时候呢，古嘎他心头呢就涌起了一股的这个无名火那么生气的就破口大骂，他说：“你这个秃头呢，真的害我也能空手而归所以呢，当他骂完之后呢，他就即刻的放开他手上的这个一群猎狗就是唆使这群狗呢去追咬这位比丘。那当然，这位托钵的比丘呢，看到这样的情况，能做什么呢？就马上掉头跑掉了，是吗？那当然，那群猎狗呢，也就后面的就追来。所以呢，这位比丘就想，哎呀，这次我真的无法逃脱了。那眼看到前面有一棵大树呢，他就即刻的爬上去。那当然，这群猎狗呢，也就无法得逞。所以呢，就在这个树下呢，就不断的盘旋，不断的在那里吠那当然，这个猎人呢，看到这样的情况当然他就走到这个树下就用他的这个弓箭去刺那位比丘的这个脚底。那当然被刺到的这个比丘呢，都感觉到非常疼痛嘛所以就不断的挣扎。那么当然被刺穿他脚底呢，就不断的这个流血了所以呢，他身上的袈裟呢也被这个血液沾到了那当然在比丘不断的在挣扎，那么他的整件袈裟呢，因此也就从树上呢就这样子掉落下来。 那刚好呢，在树下的这个库卡啊，就是猎人呢，正好呢被这个掉落下来的袈裟给盖着了。那群猎狗呢，就见到地上那个黄色的袈裟呢，然后并且闻到那件袈裟的这个汗味啊，还有这个血腥的味道呢，就以为是那位比丘掉下来，所以呢就向前扑上去，然后就乱咬哈。那后来这位库卡就被这群猎狗咬死了当然这位比丘呢心中也非常的难过他就感觉到很迷惑那不知道他是不是要负起这个责任。那这位比丘呢就回到了这个精神呢，就见到佛陀他就向佛陀问道，就佛陀呢就后来就安慰他说你不需要为这个猎人的死负责其实你并没有破戒事实上呢，这个猎人呢是自食其果他不应该肆意的伤害一个没有恶意的人 ，OK 所以呢，我们讲僧人出家人不是妖怪啦也不是夜叉啦，是吗？假如是我们人带着有色的这个眼睛去看待猎人的话呢，那真的是一件遗憾的事情。他应该知道呢，能够见到出家人呢是一件非常幸运的事，尤其是在马来西亚出家人不多在路上能够见到出家人，那真的是一件非常幸运的事情所以呢，为了破除这个世人的邪知邪见佛陀呢就讲述瞻仰诸沙门是一件吉祥事。Now, during the times of the Buddhas, there were two main religious traditions. So one is the Brahmana tradition. There's a Brahmin tradition. Another one is a Samana tradition. So for those Samana ascetics, they oppose, of course, to Brahmanism because the Samana oppose to the authority of the Vedas. They oppose to the concept of Creator God. And of course, the salient features is that Samana, recruits Samana monks and renounce their life and led the homeless life, right? And they shaved their hair, they practiced asceticism in the forest. Whereas the Brahmana, remained as a household life. Then, of course, the Buddhas, follow the Shramana tradition, and they learn from some great Samanas teachers. He learned from them the practice of severe asceticism, fasting himself until nearly to death of starvation. And of course, later he gave up, considered extreme austerity and the self-mortification as useless and unnecessary in attaining enlightenment. Then after his enlightenment, he thought the middle path, and he discovered the middle path that is the noble effort path. So our Buddhist monks also belonging to the Samana tradition. That's why we call, Samana Sakyaputta. In Chinese, it's called Saman Shizi. We are Samana. We are the son of the Sakya clan. Right? So this is a literal meaning. So in the Chinese translation, Samana has four meanings. The first, he practiced, diligently. And the second, he accomplished in spiritual path. And the third, his mind is stealing, or his mind is calm, and that is able to suppress the mind of distraction. And the fourth is, he followed the middle path, right? Which is noble effort path, consisting of the cultivation of sila, samadhi, and panya. So in this way, he eradicates the greed, hatred, and delusion. So we know, in ancient days, ancient Indian society, the samana play a multiple roles. Right? He was a religious teacher, he was a philosopher, he was an excellent, social volunteer, right? That's why we call ourselves also a social volunteer. Sometimes, in the form where you have to fill something, they have the column called social volunteer. Usually we will click that part because they don't have the column, religious people. So sometimes we choose a social volunteer. Indeed, this is our job. And of course, also a counselor, right? And of course, the Buddha emphasizes that, paying homage to ascetic monk is a blessing. And of course, the life of monk is very different from the lay people. And the biggest difference is that the monks do not have family burden. That's why, they can carry on, wholeheartedly, the Buddha's Dharma missionary works from generation to generation. OK， 在古印度里面就是在这个婆罗门教这个盛行的时候呢，有一批就是以这个以自由立场思索就是非信仰这个婆罗门教的这个出家修行人就是在森林里面修行的这个修行者呢，那么这一类的这个修行者就是我们称为沙门。那这种沙门的团体呢，就是在我们佛教僧团还没有创立之前呢，就已经存在了所以呢，为了识别就是佛教的僧人有别于外道的沙门呢，那么佛教僧人会自称自己是沙门比丘，对吗？沙门比丘或者是在北传佛教呢，我们经常会看到的就是沙门世子，这样子的一个称呼所谓的沙门世子就是沙门，就是释迦牟尼佛的儿子the son of the Sakya Buddha，类似这样。当然，在巴利语呢称为 Samana or Shramana。那中文呢有这4个意义第一个呢就是群行就是丁群修行。第二呢就是功劳修道上有功成。第三，细心呢就是他仔细忘心。第四呢是群系就是他全修戒定慧三学灭除贪嗔痴三毒。那过去的沙门呢，在古印度的社会呢是扮演很多的这个角色的。那除了他是一位宗教师之外呢，他也是一位哲学家那么他也是一位很出色的这个社会的这个义工当然也包括就是信徒心灵的这个辅导专家所以呢，佛陀呢强调能够瞻仰诸沙门呢是人生吉祥之事当然沙门的生活还是与俗人有分别啦而最大的这个不同呢是僧人没有这个家庭负担他们呢是全职，而且是非常的这个很热心的没有条件的付出的来克服这个佛陀的这个家业继承佛教的这个命脉。Okay. The Buddha also instructed his disciple, right, to always pay respect to the samanas. So, yeah, this one is found in the Samyutta Nikaya, right, in the suttas called Mahapanya Suttas. The Buddha says, when a laity visit a monk, okay, when a lay followers visit a monk, he is encouraged to do these 4 things. And when these 4 things are developed and repeatedly cultivated, that will lead to great wisdom, Mahapanya. Okay, so that 4th thing is, associating with good people, listening to the truth teaching, proper attention, and practice in accordance with the teaching. Okay, so now we look at the first one, associating with the good people. And, there is a suttas in the Anguttara Nikaya called Bhajitta Tabba. Okay, suttas. Bhajitabha Adhi suttas. Okay? In this sutta, it says, when you associate with good people, right? There are 6 ways you should do. Okay, if you look at these 6 ways, more or less they are synonymous. They said you should pay respect, you should attain with honor and respect, and you should venerate, you should praise, you should respect, you should reverence. You see, if you look at the Pali word, it's Vajitabo, Pairupasitabo, Pujo, Pasangso, Sagaravo, Sapatiso. But we don't have much English words, so these are the words you can use for our meaning. So it seems that they are quite synonymous. So you can see that the emphasis of respect and honor to the monk, okay, or to the good people here also referred to, are emphasized. 那么在一部经典里面这部经典在这个相应部里面在这个叫做 Mahabanya Suttas 这部经里面，佛陀呢就教诫弟子们，就是要时常瞻仰这个修行者那么在这个瞻仰中呢就是要强调佛陀指导要做这4件事情。第一件呢就是如法清净善事 ，OK 那么第二呢就是什么听闻佛法这个待会我们来看。那第三呢就是要思维这个佛法第4呢就是法次法相待会我们来谈。那么在谈到第一个的时候呢，就是如法的清净善事呢，这里面谈到就是在这个真知部里面有谈到，就是一位在家众那么去瞻仰这个沙门的时候呢，我们要有这6事清净善事那这6件事是什么呢？就是应奉事 ，OK 应敬事，应供养，应称赞应尊敬，应尊重那你看到呢，其实这些意思呢都蛮雷同，就是蛮相似的就是这些可以说都是一个同义就是可以看得到呢，就是见到出家人我们要对这个僧侣沙门呢要保持尊重，还有这个尊敬Then, okay, so we have seen the first one that is associated with good people and to treat samana, in these 6 ways. Then the second one is listening to the true teaching. Okay, you know that this is listening to the Buddha Dharma, right? How to, clarify a lot of doubts, right? And to understand better the teachings of the Buddhists. Okay, and other than this, the third one is to have a proper attention. Yoniso manasikara. There's a wise attention. It means that think, over and over again, the meaning of the dharmas taught by the monk, right, in order to clear all the doubts, right? If there is something unclear, right, ask the samana for more details. And of course, the last one is the practice in accordance with the Dhamma, Dhamma anudhamma patipati. Okay, so it says that, Dhamma that has been heard or learned must also put in practice. It's after repeated reflection and thought. And it must be practiced, step by step, from simple to profound. And gradually, he is led systematically towards a path of liberation. Okay? 那我们来看就是在这部经里面 Mahabanya Sutta 上刚才谈到的这个如法清净善事呢，也讲到我们要有这6法那第2也谈到就是我们要听闻佛法啦见到出家人要听闻佛法那么第3我们也要如理的这个思维佛法就是将我们所这个开示过的这个法义呢，要不断的去反复思维那么慢慢的对这个法义呢有所了解那第4呢就是法次法相法次法相就是什么呢？就是听闻过的佛法呢，要不断的这个思维之后呢，还要来赋予行动我们要来做要来拿来实践这个实践呢，就是由浅慢慢的深然后慢慢的将它来修学那么这样的话呢，就可以达到这个解脱之道到达这个解脱。Okay. So now we look at the benefits of seeing a samana. And these suttas, right, Anuttarya suttas from Anguttara Nikaya, emphasized the benefits of seeing a samana. Okay, the sutta says, right, the unsurpassable seeing is when someone with settled faith and love, right? That is a nivitta saddho or nivitta pemo. In other words, sure and developed, goes to see the Buddhas or his disciple. And with faith and devotion and love towards the monastic, he can get rid of past sorrow and crying, right? And he can make an end of suffering and sadness. And he's able to end the cycle of suffering and to realize the extinguishment. So this is called the unsurpassable seeing, right? And such is the unsurpassable seeing is found in the Anguttara Nikaya. Okay, it's called the Anuttariya Suttas. You see, during the times of the Buddhas, the Buddha's teaching spread over, both sides of the Ganga River. And among many followers, King Pasenadi, right? He is a very, faithful followers, who likes to pay homage, to see the Buddhas, okay? So the Buddha is his spiritual teacher. And if he had any questions or doubts, he would go to see the Buddhas for an answer. So there are many stories about, King Pasenadi in the suttas. So it says, in one of the suttas, it says, one day, when he was, walking in the garden and came under the tree, right, under the shade tree, suddenly he has a thought, right, of the Buddhas. And he said, I once, met the Buddhas under this tree, you see. So thinking of the Buddhas, he asked his attendant, hey, where is the Blessed One now? Then, his attendant, replies that the Blessed One was staying in a village not far from here. Then King Pasenadi immediately, went to the monastery where the Buddha lived. When the king saw the Buddhas, the king asked, oh, Blessed One, you know that, you see, there are two carpenters, in my palace. Their respect for you is far more than me, you see. Once on a trip, three of us, share a lodging room, huh? And at night, two of them, discuss your teaching, right? And until midnight, I just listened to the whole of the discussion. And when they were sleeping, they both knew the direction where the Blessed One was staying. So when they lay down, they turned their head towards the direction, where the Blessed One was staying. And they slept with their feet towards me, you see. So the action really surprised me and moved me. So these people are my servant, right? But their respect for the Buddhas is far more superior than the respect to me. So this is because they have benefited from the supreme Dharma teaching. Therefore, I sincerely respect the Blessed One as a true enlightened one. Okay, so 那么我们来看这个乐见现圣贤啊。那这一段经文呢是出自在这个真字部里面啊，这部经叫做《无上经》啊，就是有关于瞻仰诸沙门的利益了。那么在这部经里面啊，有谈到诸比丘啊，往观如来或如来之弟子，重至信心，重至爱护，一向笃信啊。OK 那诸比丘啊，能尽有情，能超忧悲，能灭苦愁，能正知，能令作证涅槃。OK， 意思就是说，只要见到这个沙门比丘有信心，有爱护呢，能亲近有情能超越忧悲，也能够灭这个苦愁能够呢取证涅槃所以那佛陀在世的时候呢，佛陀教化的这个区域可以说遍布整个恒河两岸那在众多的这个信徒之中我们讲有一个国王叫波斯匿王的，他是一个非常喜欢瞻仰佛陀的这个忠实的信徒因为佛陀是他的精神导师，所以一旦他有什么疑问问题呢，他都会前往去找佛陀来解答那么当然在经典里面也记载很多波斯匿王的这个故事。那有一天呢，波斯匿王呢就在花园里面散步那走在 到了这一棵这个阴暗的、这个阴凉的这个树下呢，他突然间就有一个念头想到，就想到世尊，就说我曾经呢在这一棵树下呢会见过佛陀。那他想到这里呢，就问侍者说世尊现在在哪里啊？那当然，这个侍者就回答说世尊现在呢在离这不远的一个村庄啊。那当然，这个波斯匿王呢就即刻的前往啊。那到了佛陀居住的这个树园里啊，见了佛陀呢，波斯匿王就向佛陀问道了，他说：“世尊啊，你知道呢，我宫中里面有2位木匠吧？他们对你的尊敬呢，已经超越了对我的尊敬。那有一次呢，我们出外远门呢，我们3人呢住在一间房子里面 ，OK？ 那他们都在讨论这个佛法谈到这个半夜。那当然我就在旁听他们论法。那直到要睡觉的时候呢，他2人呢知道世尊住的这个方向呢，他们就躺下来，他们的头呢就往这个世尊的方向，那把他们的脚呢朝向我这个方向来睡那么呢，他们这种的举动呢，使我非常非常的惊讶，又非常的感动他们2位呢是我的仆人，但是呢，他们对你的尊敬呢，比我来的更加的崇高那当然呢，这是因为他们在你的这个在世尊的教法里面呢，他们获得了这个无上的法益，所以呢，我由衷的这个感激恭敬呢，世尊是真正的一位大觉者。Okay, why frequently visit Samana? So there is a description of monks, of the monks' approachability and the friendly attitudes towards the lay followers. So this one is from the Dharma Suttas, right? One day, the king Pasenadi met with the Buddha, also the same king, right? Met the Buddha, and he compared the Buddha's disciples and the disciples of other ascetics. Then the king Pasenadi said, the Buddha's disciples are smiling, you see, and cheerful, very cheerful, and very sincerely, joyful, and plainly delighting, living at ease, very serene, very calm. Right? As compared to other recruits of other religion, you see, during the Buddha's time, right? They are all very haggard, very ugly, right? And the blue veins appearing all over the bodies. I think people's eyes don't want to see them, you see. You see, as comparing to the Buddhist monk, with other religious tradition, there is such a huge contrast, yeah? So I think you have the answer now, because some other people are living at ease, right? They're very serene, very calm, and they are experiencing, unworldly, non-sensual pleasure feeling without attachment for the progress of spiritual realization. And this is a whole of spiritual life, right? Brahmacharya. That's why the Buddha says, by seeing and respecting the samana, recluse or monks, okay, is indeed a blessing. 那在这个中部里面有一部经叫做 Dharma Sutta。那这一部经呢，就提到有一次呢，这个波斯匿王，OK， 见佛陀。那见了佛陀之后呢，他就比较这个佛陀的弟子，还有其他的修行者他们之间这个分别的描述。那当时呢，国王就对佛陀说：“他说我看到您的僧团呢，寺中的僧团呢，每位比丘个个呢都是非常的微笑各个呢都非常的愉快而且呢由衷的喜悦，而且非常的欢喜他们真的活得非常非常的自在，非常的平静当然，这个波斯匿王也比较其他的这个沙门婆罗门那么他们各个呢都是。”怎么讲？憔悴不安，憔悴不康个个都长得非常的丑恶那么全身呢都佛现这个什么青筋，对吗？然后呢，我想人们的眼睛呢其实不想见他们的那当然讲到这里呢，我想大家心中有个答案这个答案是什么呢？就是佛陀所教导的呢是一条清净梵行之道 那所强调的呢，是在整个修行里面呢，是出家人体验一种没有爱染的一种喜悦快乐。它是一种清净放行的生活方式。Okay, so why monks are so serene and having a composed mind and appearance, right? Just how I have said, because they're experiencing the joys and happiness derived from meditation, concentration, right, and wisdom. And the Buddhas teaches us, to differentiate, two types of happiness. You see, the first is a happiness that is to be pursued, because it leads to liberation. And the second, also the happiness that should be avoided. So the Buddha differentiate, these two types of happiness. And of course, in what is the happiness to be pursued, right? This is the types of happiness derived from the jhana, from the absorption, from the concentration. Okay, so that types of happiness from the jhana is away from the worldly desire. That is to say, the joys without worldly desire. Okay, so those who attain the concentration and wisdom, that is because the result of achieving these unworldly, non-sensuous joys and happiness. Okay, so it doesn't mean that the monk should keep cool all the time. No, monks are really experiencing their joys, but that kind of joy is the unworldly, non-sensuous joys and happiness. Yeah, that's why the Buddhist people, right, monks and laity, the lay followers, they are supposed to be a happy person, right? Because the Buddha teaches us how to live a happy life, right? Of course, that kind of happiness is not to be purchased by money, okay, or leading a comfortable or luxurious life, but to live with joys of inner peace, right, with mindfulness, with awareness, right, with loving kindness and compassion. OK， 那么我们来谈就是刚才我们谈到的，就是出家人为什么生活得很自在，生活得很快乐那对于修行者来讲，我们要有这个能力去区分就是两种的快乐。一种的快乐呢是无碍然的这种喜乐那这种喜乐呢是可以追求的，就是出家人可以追求的快乐。那另外一种的快乐呢应该要被避免的这个是有爱染的有世俗的一种快乐。OK 为什么我们讲说出家人修行者呢他们体验这种这种无碍染的，那是因为呢他们体验这个禅定他们体验这个智慧所带来的这种喜悦带来的这种快乐。 OK， 虽然我们讲佛教徒呢应该是很快乐的人所以我们看到佛教呢能够流传至今呢给世人留下的这个就是如何快乐的生活当然我们讲到这种快乐不是用金钱不是世俗的这个物质呢可以的这种生活，而是这种的快乐呢是伴随就是没有爱染的这种喜乐他所得到的是一种内心的清净，内心的喜悦有正知，有正念有觉，有照这样的一个生活。So in the analysis, right, of the state of mind in the Abhidhamma, right, and there are 121 kinds of the state of mind analyzed, and most of the state of mind correspond to joys. Okay? So you can see Abhidhamma emphasize the importance of joys in the practice of the spiritual path. So in the analysis of the mind, Abhidhamma, there is what do you call? There is this arahat smile, arahat smile. What is the Arahat smile? To talk about, the mind that is accompanied by joys. And that also reminds us of the stories about, the Mahayana Zen story about this Nian Hua Wei Xiao. It means that the smiling with flowers holding in the hand, right? In the northern tradition, it says one day the Buddhas taught the Dharma to the people, and holding a lotus flowers right in his hand. Then at that time, while holding that lotus flowers, no one understand what the Buddhas meant, right? And they were all very silent. Then only Kashyapa understood what the Buddhas meant and smiled. Right? So only Kashyapa realized that. So smiling with flowers holding in hand referred to blessed ones holding flowers in hand, and Kashyapa smile. So this is a very beautiful stories. 那么在这个在我们知道在阿毗达摩里面有一段就是对心状态的这个分析，里面谈到有21种心的这个状态那这大部分的心的这个状态呢，都是以喜悦相应的所以我们可以看得到呢，这个阿毗达摩非常强调这个喜悦的重要性。那么阿毗达摩呢，对于这个心的分析架构里面呢，里面有谈到一个阿罗汉的微笑阿罗汉的微笑这非常美了一个微笑。那当然谈到这个阿罗汉的微笑呢，里面他讲的是有伴随喜悦的心，就是说阿罗汉呢，他们就是经常生活在这个每一时刻呢，都生活在这个喜悦的当下所以呢，这里面有一段这个北传一段的这个禅宗的这个典故，就是拈花微笑。那这个拈花微笑的故事大致是这样的，就是有一次呢，释迦牟尼佛为众人说法 ，OK， 那他手里拿着莲花莲花也没有讲话那其实大家都不明白为什么释迦牟尼佛拿这个莲花所以大家都没有讲话。那只有迦叶尊者就坐在一旁呢，领略了这个世尊的意识，所以呢就微笑了所以呢这个拈花微笑呢，就是世尊拿着这个莲花而迦叶在微笑，所以呢整个过程呢是不用讲话的，就是彼此看到了，就是大家会心一笑而感觉到非常的快乐非常的喜悦那其实生活就是这样子不多言谈就是大家一个眼神呢，都能够让大家看到很舒服感觉到很快乐。Okay. Okay. Yeah. When talking about this, the monks are a happy person, right? There is a story of, in Dhammapada, a story of Mahakapina, a monk. It says that, one day the king, okay, accompanied by, many ministers, they were out in the park. And when they met some merchants from Savatthis, and knowing that, you see, they are coming from the Buddhas, then this king and the merchants were very excited. The king and the ministers were very excited, right, seeing these merchants coming from the Savatthis and come to know the Buddhas. So immediately they set out to see the Buddhas. Okay, so this is a story. So when they saw the Buddhas, the king, together with the ministers, you see, they pay homage to the Buddhas, and of course, later on the Buddhas delivered the discourse to them. Then after listening to the discourse, right, the king and the ministers, they all attend the Sotapanna. The Buddha's times to attain Sotapanna is very easy. Listen to you see, when they see the Samana, the Sakyamuni, immediately they enlighten. You see, so that's the benefit of seeing the Buddha, isn't it? Then, of course, the king and the ministers, and they listen to the Buddhas and look at the Buddha. You see, they all very rejoice. You see, all the doubts, everything cleared and straight entering into the Sotapanna. And of course, immediately after that, they asked Buddhas, to allow them to join the order. Okay, then later on, their wife also came, where the Buddha was staying, right? And the Buddhas, by exercising his supernatural power, and make the king and the ministers, invisible, so that their wife could not see them at all. Then they also their queen, they say, and their wife, later inquiring where the king, right? And their wife, okay. Then the Buddha told them, okay, you wait for a while, okay. Very soon you'll be able to see them. Then the Buddha also at that time delivered another suttas, right? Then it says that at the end of the suttas, the king, okay, and together with other ministers, attained arhatship, okay. And of course, the queen and the wife of their king and ministers also attained the Sotapanna, okay. So it's very wonderful seeing the Buddhas be able to listen to the Buddha discourses. You see, it's very easy, very fast for you to attain the arhathood. That's because they have so much faith, right, and love. So now, of course, immediately after they attain the Sotapanna, right, then at that very instance, the queen, saw their husband, their former husband, okay. Then, of course, what the queens said to the Buddhas, they also asked permission from the Buddhas, to enter the order of Bhikkhuni. So, after becoming monk, okay, the king, the name of the king is called the Mahakapina Thera, right? After becoming monk, his name is called Mahakapina. Then he meditated, day and night, and very often he says, "Aho Sukam, Aho Sukam." Aho Sukam means, oh, what happiness! Oh, what happiness! You see, so this is a spontaneous expression of one who really enjoyed the test of liberation. So that is a spontaneous, rejoice, aho sukam, you see. Then of course other bhikkhus, hearing, this king, becoming monk, after becoming monk, the king, Mahakapina Thera, saying this so many times a day and told the Buddhas about it. Then the Buddha replied, Mahakapina Thera had tested the Dharma. He lived happily, with us, with a very serene mind. Yeah? So, this is the story. After becoming monks, you can be a very happy person. So it is indeed a blessing to see the Buddhas and his disciples. A lot of people don't want to become monk because they have a lot of misunderstanding about the Buddhist monk, right? So if you're able to see the Buddhist monk in Malaysia, that's also indeed a very blessing. OK， 那么我们来看一下，就在这个法句经里面呢，也有谈到一个国王他的名字叫做马卡比纳。那有一次呢，他在公园就随一般这个大臣，那么在公园游玩的时候呢，那么就碰到前面一些商人那这些商人就跟他们讲说他们遇见了佛陀，然后那当然佛陀呢听到这些商人讲到佛陀呢，内心也非常的欢喜，所以呢也就随同大臣就是前往世尊住的地方了。那么佛陀呢为他们讲法之后呢，他们就很快的也就领略了这个佛法，然后也证入了这个出果圣者，然后你要求出家。那么当然他们的王后还有这些大臣的妻子呢知道他们见了佛陀久未见他们，所以呢也就前往去见佛陀。那当然到了佛陀那里呢，佛陀呢因为不让他们分心嘛，所以就运用这个神通使他们看不见这个国王还有他们的这些大臣他们的丈夫所以呢那佛陀呢就跟他讲说你不急你先坐下来，待会呢你就看见了佛陀了。所以王后呢心里也很开心因为说能够见到他们的丈夫当然很开心所以呢就听下来听佛陀讲法。那佛陀呢为他们讲法之后呢这个国王还有这些大臣呢也很快呢就证入了这个阿罗汉果了。那么这些王后这些大臣的妻子呢也就证得了这个出果圣者了所以呢也就要求佛陀他们要加入这个比丘尼，成为这个比丘尼所以故事是这样的，就是佛陀呢这个国王呢成佛这个出家之后呢经常呢一个人就 有一点自言自语，就阿后苏港呢，就说我很快乐，好快乐啊！那当然，其他的比丘呢，见到这种情况呢，就很好奇的就问佛陀为什么会这样子呢？无缘无故自言自语的在那里坐禅，就说阿后苏港这样子。所以呢，佛陀就回答到说这个马哈卡宾的比丘呢，已经领略了这个法喜了，所以他内心宁静他非常欢喜的过日子。OK 所以呢，佛陀呢，所以我们讲说，为什么现在的很多人一听到出家，他们内心很害怕很不愿意，那是因为呢，他们对出家人太不了解了那么，假如是他们明白原来出家是可以成为一个很快乐的人的话，我看可能情况可能不一样所以我们讲说这些修行人能够出家，他们能够去森林里面修行，为什么？他们内心没有恐惧，没有害怕，那是因为他们的内心呢有这个法喜，有这个喜悦所以呢，能够在马来西亚见到出家人也是一件非常吉祥的事情Okay, so next time when you see Buddhist monk, okay, don't chase them away. Okay? They are the object, okay, of blessing and veneration. Okay, so yeah, one day I went for Pinapon. I saw an old lady, come to me and offer me just a very little biscuits, right, and very sincerely, put in my bowl, and ask me for blessing, ask me for protection for her, especially to pray her, to be recovered from illness. Then of course I did that blessing. Then later on I saw her, satisfactorily, disappearing, from my eyesight. She was very happy, as if, she fulfilled, something very significant, in her life. So she was very, satisfactorily, leaving me. So at that time, a thought comes to me. There's this thought, right? That we are so fortunate and blessed to be the disciples of the Buddhas, even after 2,600 years had passed. People now still respect, the Buddhas and his disciple. So, yeah, the seeing of the Buddhas and the Buddha's disciples is also indeed a very blessing. Then, just now we talk about living in the society, the lay followers and the religious teachers, they are also to be mutually supporting each other. In the Singalawada Sutta, the Buddha says, there are these 5 things that a lay follower should minister, to monk. It says, the lay people should be kindness, in bodily speech, in bodily deeds, speech and thought to the Buddhist monk. Okay, it means that they be kind, don't scold them. You see, I think Buddha in his time also he knew that people scold the Buddhist monk, scold the samana. That's why the Buddha says, be kind, be gentle to Buddhist monk. Okay, in your body, deed, speech, and thought. Right. So this is something very significant. And another one, to keep open house for them. Okay, it means that when you are able to see the monks, okay, invite them, to come to your house and offer them, food and drinks, right? So then another one, by supplying their needs, okay, giving them the 4 requisites, okay. So in that case, I think monks also can go to your house for blessing and accepting your requests, okay, and 4 requisites. So that's also indeed a blessing. OK， 那么最后呢，我们来看就是这一次我们有机会呢见到出家人呢，就不要呢怀着这个恶意的这种心态呢去对付这个出家人，好不好那么有一次呢，我在街上托钵的时候我就看到一位老太太就是她手上呢拿着仅有的一点点饼干呢，然后呢就放入了我这个钵内然后呢就眼神就是很渴望就是跟我讲班爹你不是班爹，他说师父你祝福我你保护我 可以不让我有很多的病痛哈。当然当时呢我也不做第二想我就说好，我就为你祝福这样子。那么一个简单的祝福之后呢，我就看到这位老人家呢，就是他的眼睛里面充满很开心，就是很开心的这个样子。然后呢，就在我面前呢，就慢慢的消失了。当时呢，我有一个很强烈的这个念头就想到说，我们今天能够成为佛陀的弟子能够成为出家人呢，真的是我们太幸福了佛陀留下给我们很宝贵的这个遗产既然已经过了2600年现在的人还能够尊敬，能够护持这个三宝弟子，所以呢，想到这里呢，我们真的感觉到出家人就是一件非常吉祥的事情那么当然在家人呢也应该要怎么样来对待这个沙门呢在这个上生经 Sigalowada Sutta 呢，佛陀说有这5个方面呢来看待这个沙门，来对这个沙门出家人第1、2、3呢，就是以持心来对待他们，就是以口业以身业、口业、以意业来对待他们。我想到这也是可能在佛陀的时代呢，很多这些人就是对出家人有恶意所以呢，佛陀呢就劝诫这些在家人你们要对这些出家人呢要以慈心来对待所以同样的，我觉得现在的人也是我们佛教徒看到出家人要很欢喜的来对待这些出家人不要像看到之前一些故事里面好像看到鬼似的这个是非常非常的糟糕那当然另外呢就是也不要去拒绝他们，对吗？然后也另外呢就是提供是资具来护持他们所需。 OK， 那么今天呢我就给大家谈到这里就是瞻仰诸沙门是件非常吉祥的事情。萨埵萨埵萨埵。
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Bante, for the very interesting and mentally and spiritually enriching talk this morning. There's so much things that we have learned today on how to live a happier life in peace and harmony by going to the temple and pay homage to the venerable monks, to do dana, and to learn from the venerable monks. Bante, I think today we don't have any questions from the devotees. So can we request Bante, in conjunction with the coming Chinese New Year, to bless us with a short chanting, a blessing chanting, Bante?
Okay, so thank you. So I'm going to chant these Mangala Suttas, right? As New Year is approaching, so I wish you all happy and be blessed with good health and peace of mind. So like us, if you know how to recite the Mangala Suttas, so we can recite together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagavan savadiyang viharati jetavane anatta pindikasa arame atako anyatara devata abhikantaya rattiya abhikantavana kevalakap panjetavana obasetavana yena bhagava denopasangami upasangami tva bhagavantang abhivadetva ekamantang attasi ekamantang titakosa Devata Bhagavantang Gataya Ajabasi Bahudeva Manosacha Mangalani Achendayong Akangamana Tanang Bro Imangalamotamang Asevana Chabalana Panditanan Chasevana Puja Pujaneyana Etang Mangalamotamang Patiropade Savasocha Pobecha Katapunyata Atta Samma Panidicha Etang Mangalamotamang Bahusachancha Sipancha Vinayocha Susikito Subhasitacha Yavacha Etang Mangalamotamang Mata Pitu Upatana Potadarasa Sangaho Anakula Chakamanta Etang Mangalamotamang Dananchadam Machariyacha Nyatakanancha Sangaho Anavad Jani Kamani Etang Mangalamotamang Arati Virati Papa Majapana Sanyamo Apamado Chedam Mesu Etang Mangalamotamang Garavocha Nivatocha Santoti Chakatanyutam Kalena Dhamma Savanang Etang Mangalamotamang Kanti Cha Sovacha Sata Samananan Cha Dasanang Kalena Dhamma Kacha Etang Mangalamotamang Tapocha Brahmachariyancha Aryasat Chanadasanang Nibbana Sat Chikiriyacha Etang Mangalamotamang Udasaloka Dhammehi Chitang Yasana Kampati Asokang Virajang Kemang Etang Mangalamotamang Etadisani Katavana Sabata Maparajita Sabata Soti Gachanti Tang Tesang Mangalamotamanti Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu.
Once again, thank you so much, Bante, for the very interesting, inspiring, and enlightening talk this morning, and also for Bante's blessings. On behalf of Buddhists, we convey our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Bante, and wishing Bante and all devotees a happy, healthy, and successful Chinese New Year ahead. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, this morning we have all participated in the Sunday Buddha Puja service, listening to Venerable's Dharma talk. With the merits accrued, let us invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to lead us in a dedication of merits to all sentient beings, families, relatives, friends, and to the departed ones. Venerable.
Patidana, transference of merit. Akasata cha Bhumata Deva Naga Mahedika Punyang Tang Anumoditva Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasanang Chirang Rakantu Desanang Chirang Rakantu Mang Parangti Etavata cha amhehi sampadang punya sampadang Sabe deva, sabe buddha, sabe sata anumodantu Sabba sampati siddhya Idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yavanik bana patiya Idang me punyang asava kaya vahang hotu Idang me punyang nibbana sapat sayo hotu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu
Venerable Dr. Dhammapala, thank you very much for leading us in this morning's Sunday Buddha Puja service, the Dharma talk, and the dedications of merits. Brothers and sisters, please help me to thank Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, before we end, let us pay homage to the Tribhujan. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. To our Dharma friends from all over the country and whoever is logging in from outside the country, thank you very much for participating. To those who have stayed until the dedication of merits, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We have come to the end of this 78th online Sundays Buddha Puja service. The next Buddha Puja service will be on the following Sunday, 31st January. You may refer to your society's Facebook for the poster for the information. It would be good that continue to share the link with all your friends and family members. Remember, we have to stay safe, stay cautious. May you and family be safe, well, happy, and peaceful always. Happy Chinese New Year. Sukhi Hontu, Sabbe Sata Sukita Hontu.
Bahung sahan semabhinim mitesayudantang ngirimi kelang uditego Sasene marang Dānādi Dhamma Vidinā Jitavā Munindo